Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to TTML Division 3 for the second time this evening. If you're just tuning in now, unfortunately at the end of qualifying we did have a very common lobby glitch, and the game crashed for pretty much everybody in the lobby. So we are back going again. We're just waiting for, I believe, one more person to rejoin the lobby, and then we can get this race going again. But just to recap on qualifying though, before we get back into this race, B Morgan took pole position ahead of Isotopic in second place, and B Morgan looked like he had really strong pace in qualifying, didn't he, Conti?
Yeah, he did. It was great quality pace, 2/10 up on Isotopic. So yeah, it really looks racy and fast on China today. And talking about fast guys, great job from Isotopic as well, qualifying on P2 today.
Yeah, qualified P2. He struggled a little bit last time out in Bahrain. I believe he qualified right at the bottom end of the top 10, but he wasn't quite able to really show any pace in the race. He really struggled. He also got caught out by that late safety car, but to get second on the grid for him today is a massive boost for his chances. But that's a little bit of an issue for Isotopic. We maybe saw it towards the end of last season, where some tracks he'd have really good pace, and then other tracks he just seemed to struggle for rhythm, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. I think he drives the tracks he likes. He drives them a lot, and the tracks he doesn't like, looks like he doesn't drive them a lot. So yeah, you're gonna be struggling on race pace then. I mean, qualifying, you can get one good lap in sometimes, but you're not as consistent as you would be on tracks you drive a lot. So yeah, that could be the problem. I don't know if it is that, but it could be the problem.
Yeah, that definitely could be the problem, unfortunately, for Isotopic. And if that is the case, then he's going to want to try and iron that out as the season goes on, because obviously only a short season, you can't really afford to have an off day or an off race, because it can cost you massively in the championship. We saw that really last season in Division 3, didn't we, from Mashiro, where he had a few off rounds, and at the end of the day, it really cost him a chance at the championship.
Yeah, it did. He had a really poor start. First, what was it, three races, I believe, went horribly wrong from his side. And after that, he just kept winning and getting podiums, and he almost won the championship. So if he would have started good, he could have been a champion. And yeah, it's going to be the same for the guys this season.
Yeah, they really have to get up and going. If you haven't seen the first round of the championship, then I recommend go back and watch that Bahrain race, because it was absolutely incredible. It was actually Hero Jokin that got off to the best start this season from 20th on the grid in Bahrain, took home the race victory. So that was a brilliant result from him. And Simply Superman and Jan completed the podium. So both of those drivers who were here last season, Simply Superman and Jan, both fighting for that fourth in the standings, getting their championship off to a good start as well. But noticeably as well, Old School got a little bit unlucky in the race last time out. He qualified on pole, Stumpy alongside him on the front row, and both of those drivers just not really able to capitalise on everything going on around them in the race last time out.
No, but they were a bit unlucky on the safety car as well. I mean, for some guys, it meant it was great for their race, and for the likes of Old School or Eloy Marcus, he was called last season. Yeah, it just didn't come his way, that safety car, and it cost him in the end.
Yeah, it really did cost him, unfortunately. But let's see if he can bounce back in this round of the season. We are getting ready then to go. Fingers crossed everybody is on the correct tyres going into this race. We don't want any sort of disqualifications at the end of it. Everyone inside the top 10, apart from Old School, who qualified in 10th, is on the soft compound tyres. Old School is on the mediums. Everyone then all the way down to 16th is on the medium compound tyres. Our last two on the grid, which I believe were Alex and Jokin, are on the hard compound tyres. So look out for that at the start of this one. Make sure that nobody's on the incorrect tyres, and if they are, then you can rat them out to the stewards. But I'm sure they will know it themselves. But we're obviously talking a little bit about strategy in the qualifying as well. But this track, really the fastest strategy around this track has got to be the medium hard strategy, hasn't it?
Yeah, I believe so. The softs are going off really fast, and then in the end you're gonna struggle with the hard tires. So yeah, medium hard is the fastest strategy possible. I believe. Yeah, I believe it is. But yeah,
I think if
I
I
would
was
go for that one.
Yeah, if I was racing as well, I'd definitely go for that strategy. But obviously with this lobby restart, one thing we can bear in mind is that those people starting on the softs now have a little bit have less of a disadvantage than they had in the first round, because obviously they go into this race with a completely fresh set of soft compound tyres. And massively as well, this helps Old School. Old School got into the top 10 on his medium tyres, having done 2 full runs. So that's an in-lap, an out-lap, and a flying lap. He did 2 of those in that session.
Yeah.
So his tyres would have been at least 3 laps older than all the medium, well, 6 laps older than all the drivers behind him, because they obviously were on fresh sets of medium compound tyres. So this massively helps Old School out now, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. So, yeah, let me ask you this. Do you want to come back on your top 3 prediction then now?
I think I might have to now after that one. Yeah, I think if you didn't catch the top 3 predictions at the end of the last stream, we don't blame you, because obviously the stream went down towards the end. But it was B Morgan we both predicted for the race victory. I predicted Stumpy for second place because of the advantage he had in those mediums. But now I'm going to have to agree with you with Old School for second on the podium, because he now has that. He has that advantage now. That advantage is now gone for the drivers behind him, so he's back really in the same spot as them and a place higher. So Old School, I think, for the podium as well. And I had Lighty predicted for third, and I think I'm going to stick with Lighty for third, because his form recently really has been really strong. He should have been really on the podium last time out in Bahrain, but unfortunately a couple of audacious moves into turn 5 especially just didn't really pay off for him, and it caused him a couple of half spins and dropped into the bottom end of the top 10. So I think Lighty are definitely on the podium as well. What about you? Are you going to stick with your predictions, or are you going to change yours up?
No. I'm just gonna stick with it. B Morgan, Old School. Yeah, it's kind of boring. We got the same now. No, I'm gonna change it just because I don't want to have the same prediction as you have. I'm Old School. It's gonna go horribly wrong for Old School. Um, sorry, mate. And it's gonna be Sean. Sean looked okay. So Sean for Lighty for P2 and Sean for P3.
That's definitely a bold podium, but I mean, anything can happen. We saw last time up that anything can happen. None of the top drivers on the podium really started inside the top 5. I don't think none of them did. So look out for that for this race. That could be the case. And I think Old School's already mad at me for the amount of times that I'm a little bit hard on him in commentary, or sometimes I do tend to jinx Old School quite heavily. So the fact that I've predicted him for the podium means that your prediction may come true. So we'll have to wait and see for that one for Old School, currently in 10th place. But everyone's now coming round the final corner, getting ready for the start of this race. It is going to be a dry race throughout. It's going to be nice and sunny, so look out for tyre attempts early on as well, especially for the soft runners. That front left tyre, especially on these long right-handed corners, especially turn 1 and the first corner in the one of the first corners in the final sector. Incredibly long corners, very easy to wear that front left tyre out. So here we go then, full qualifying. Hero Jokin will be the last one on the grid for the second time this season out of 2. Hero Jokin will be the last person on the grid, but he won last time out. Let's see if he can repeat that form. Are we going to have as crazy a race as we did last time out? Let's wait and see. They line up at the back of the field then. Alex and Hero Jokin on the hard compound tyres, and now we get ready for the 5 lights to come on ahead of the drivers today. Who is going to get the best start? We are going to get ready to go then. The lobby is working this time round, and here we go. Here come the lights ahead of the drivers. Is it B Morgan? Is it Isotopic that gets the best start? Lights are out very quickly and away they go, and it looks a fairly even start. Actually, Isotopic looks like he's had a brilliant start on the inside, and he has. He's already clean past B Morgan into turn 1. They're 3 wide in the background as well. Harry Noirk has a bit of a poor start, and he had to back out of it at turn 1. So Lighty and Jan are both through, and Lighty's going to try and work his way past B Morgan as well with an audacious move. Little bit of wheel-to-wheel contact through turns 3. They just about get away with it. Lighty on the curb, but he's trying to go all the way around the outside, and now has the inside line for the hairpin. Can Lighty pull the move off down towards the hairpin? I think he can. B Morgan very late on the brakes. Lighty even later on the brakes forces B Morgan off the track. There's a little bit of contact, but Lighty is through. He had the corner. Great start from Lighty. B Morgan is now going to get passed by Jan as well. So what a disastrous start for B Morgan. First on the grid, down to 4th in as many corners it seems. Jan's up to 3rd. David's up to 5th. Harry Noir, both Renaults having dreadful starts. 4th and 6th from 1st and 3rd on the grid. Sean 7th, Steve 8th. Old School and Simply Superman up the field. Old School 9th, Simply Superman up to 10th. He's had a great start in this race. Hero Jokin's got ahead of Alex, but both hard runners still run towards the back of the field. Hero Jokin actually going for a move on Kiki in the background, but not quite close enough. But what a dream start for Isotopic and Lighty, 1st and 2nd now.
Yeah, incredible stuff. I mean, Isotopic great off the starting row. He had a little bit over a second now, but yeah, Lighty just great
Oh, and
side
David.
racing.
David started to jump in there, but David now looking down the inside. B Morgan. B Morgan, after a great qualifying, is getting swamped at this race start. He's now down the outside. He's going to have the inside line for the last corner. Can David get the move done before the corner? He's got the outside line. He turns in. B Morgan, though, is still there. There's a lot of contact between them. They just about get away with it. David has to run wide to avoid them, and now that means that Harry Nawag is going to be right on the back of the McLaren round, but B Morgan seems incredibly slow in a straight line, and David had a look down the inside but wasn't quite close enough. But B Morgan runs a little bit wide through turns 1 and 2. Can he get the card towards the apex for 3? He can. Harry Nawag trying to regain some of those places as well, but what a terrible start for B Morgan.
Yeah, it is, and he's really struggling on traction as well. Coming out of the corner, getting the power down, and his straight line speed is just terrible. I mean, he's so slow in straight line, and that's okay, but you have to make it up in the corners then. But he doesn't do that at the moment.
No, he seems to be a little bit all over the place. I hope this isn't the case, but I wonder whether, because of the restart, whether B Morgan's forgotten to put on the right setup or a setup at all. That might be the case. We'll have to wait and see, but B Morgan looks like he's gathered it up a little bit in that middle sector. He's not under as much pressure from David behind. He's slightly closing back in on Jan, but the top two are starting to get away a little bit now. Isotopic out in the front, Lighty in second place. Actually, I'd say that though. Isotopic is gone out front. The timing glitch says 8/10, but it's obviously a little bit larger than that at this point in the race. Isotopic seems to have broken DRS already. What a dream start for Isotopic this is, to have this comfortable margin already, and then everyone behind is all in a queue coming down towards the hairpin. Who we got looking in the background? That's Sean trying to look down the inside of Harry Nawag. Sean's had a great start in this race from 9th on the grid, or 8th on the grid, sorry, up to 7th ahead of Steve. Looking at Harry Nawag for 6th place, he's looking very confident on those soft tyres. Tekken, the Alpha Tauri, the first really of the soft runners to start struggling, he's dropped down to 11th place. He can't really keep up with the rest of the soft runners. Old School in 9th, the lead medium runner, but Simply Superman yet again, another good start for the Alfa Romeo man.
Yeah, 3 positions up on his medium, so he's just sitting tight there and waiting for the soft guys to pit. But yeah, great stuff from him again. And yeah, I don't know what it is with him in the race, but he's just so good. His racecraft, his speed in the race is just, qualifying isn't really his thing, but racing is.
Oh, I just want to go in there. Tekken, my word, I've never seen a car lose it that much coming down towards the braking zone for the hairpin. I don't know how on earth he held on to that or how he lost it in the first place, but well held from Tekken. I'm amazed he didn't spin that car, but my word, that was all over the place. I will say as well, though, for Alfa Romeo, as Tekken goes completely off the road. Oh no, sorry, that's the lag a little bit on my end. Tekken's internet seems to be a little bit poor, so if he does go off the road, then that's probably just a connection issue. I was going to say about Alfa Romeo, though. Alfa Romeo looking very strong in the manufacturers, with Stumpy a great qualifier, great raw speed. Maybe doesn't quite have the pace at the moment, but Simply Superman as well, already with a podium to his name and looking very fast in this race. They've got a great shot of manufacturers this time round. We're coming towards the end of lap 3 then. Everyone now has DRS. We've got to look at ERS management in this race as well. That's going to be crucial, as looking at the background, Captain Chubbs has lost a whole heap of places. He's now behind Hero Joking, and Alex is looking down towards the inside, trying to get off of last in the field, and Alex moves down the inside of Captain Chubbs in the Red Bull. Captain Chubbs can't really do anything to fight it. It's going to try and hold it around the outside, but Alex, fair enough, puts him on the curb. Captain Chubbs really struggling for pace, has absolutely no grip, and now Hero Joking and Alex are up a place on those hard compound tyres, so they're starting to work their way forwards. Flores is their next target. Oh yeah, Chubbs has spun coming out the final corner, so it just goes from bad to worse to utterly horrible really for Chubbs this season so far. It's not gone his way at all. He's now down in last place, still going though, so he will score points if he keeps going in this race. Now moving back towards the front of the field, B Morgan seems to have picked up the pace. He's now right on the back of Jan, but it looks at the moment it looks a little bit like I can't even get my words out. It looks a little bit like it might be a bit too late for B Morgan, because Lighty and Isotopic at the moment are just starting to disappear at the front of the field. Yeah,
they do, and especially Isotopic, he's really doing great. I think he had some real practice in, and yeah, bear in mind now the only thing that B Morgan could save now is doing the undercut, because it is pretty powerful when you start on the soft tires, and try to undercut Jan maybe.
Maybe try and undercut Jan, like you say, but the problem really for B Morgan here is if he undercuts too much, then there's the likelihood that he might not be able to take those hards to the end of the race, so he's got to really weigh up his options here. Maybe staying out a couple laps longer might even help him. Looking at ERS management as well, it does look like David has got absolutely no ERS at all in the McLaren, so he's used up a whole heap of his, as is Harry Nawag, as is Sean, who's under attack from Steve now. Steve down the inside, can he get that move done? Can he get the car stopped? He can, but Sean with a great switch back on the exit, but can he get the run towards towards the final corner. I think Steve's going to have this one down the inside. Sean can't fight that one, so Steve through, using that ERS advantage he had over Steve to get a place ahead now of Sean, but he's become detached really from the top 6 because of it. Sean's trying to come back, but has nothing to fight with down the pit straight. Steve up into 7th. And that is one thing to look out for. ERS management here is so crucial because of the long straight. You need the ERS to attack as Sean trying to come back at him through turn 3, but there's a little bit of wheel-to-wheel contact. Sean slides because of it, and now Old School with even more ERS than the pair of them on those medium tyres is trying to get past. He's a little bit stuck at the moment. He'll be wanting these two to pick up the pace or to get through as quickly as possible so he doesn't lose too much time to the leaders. But Old School in 9th, looking sitting pretty with a lot of ERS at the moment. Or, yeah, yeah, like you say, yeah, he has. He's gone round at the hairpin, unfortunately, as Flores and Hero Jokin are side-by-side behind. Kiki and Excel Nolan were side-by-side as well, as Hero Jokin down the inside of Flores makes up another place. So, from 18th on the grid, we're 5 laps in. That's one place a lap so far for Hero Jokin on the hard compound tyres, remember. So, once again, it's starting to play beautifully into Jokin's hands.
Yeah, it does, and he's really looking strong. 5 places, he won 5 places already on the hard tyres, and yeah, he can just go on for ages on those tires, and he's going to be so fast on the mediums when everybody is going to be driving around on worn hard tires. So yeah, he's really, his chances are not over yet. Kiki has won 5 places as well, so he's doing great. He's doing great as well, yeah.
Yeah.
And Sean, he just keeps battling with Old School now.
And now we've got more people into the pit lane. So Jan and David, our first drivers in. At the end of lap 5, they're coming in to change onto the hard compound tyres, I would imagine. So we'll wait and see what they do. Old School has passed Sean, like you say. So Old School's upper place and is already swarming all over the back of Steve coming towards turn 1. He's not quite close enough, though. Coming out of the pit lane, Jan's gone for the mediums. So Jan's committed to a 2-stop. We've seen this a couple times from Jan, where he's gone for the alternative strategy. It hasn't worked out in the past. Maybe it worked out today. He was maybe hoping for some sort of safety car. Stumpy's into the pit lane as well, I imagine, to repair some damage. So his race is really gone horribly wrong for him. But Jan on the mediums, David on the hard. So both of those two going for something different, as Old School now up another place, and he's passed Steven up into 5th.
Yeah, great stuff already, up to 5th place. So he already won, what is it? He started 10th, I believe,
10th,
so
yeah.
5 places as well. So yeah, he's doing great. And yeah, Jen, not sure what to think of it. Pitting for the medium tires, he really has to be hoping for a safety car. It's the only reason why you go on the mediums.
Yeah, I would say so. The one-stop strategy around here with the length of the pit lane and even with how the track is, there's not really a lot of overtaking opportunities here apart from the hairpins. It's very, very close in packed here, the field, and because of obviously the DRS trains as well, it can be very difficult to overtake. So this is a very bold strategy Jan is playing. As Lighty as he's getting closer and closer to Isotopic. So I wonder if Isotopic is one of the first of the 2 leaders starting to struggle on his softs. They both stay out. So Isotopic and Lighty staying out. B Morgan into the pit lane. Harry Noir is going to have to stay out because obviously his teammate came in front of him. So that means Owl School now moves up into 4th as Steve goes into the pits in the background as well. Simply Superman's past Sean, so Simply Superman now up in 6th, and he's trying to keep with Old School, who is starting to just disappear off into the distance at the moment. Kiki as well on the medium tyres doing a good job. He's now tucked in behind Sean as well. So both Williams drivers on those mediums looking strong at the moment, but at the moment Isotopic and Lighty don't think they can take the hards to the end from this point. They're going a lap longer just so that they can have a little bit of an easier time on the hards, and at the moment with the opening laps they've had, they can afford this because they built such a nice lead. Yeah,
they did. Gap between Lighty and Harinio Park, what is it, how do you pronounce it?
Harinowag, yeah.
Harinoark, thank you. It's 3 seconds, so yeah, they've got a comfortable lead, and yeah, I wonder if they're working together, they can maybe stretch it one more lap and pit them, and it's gonna make their life really, really easy as long as they don't lose their pace on these tires.
We'll have to wait and see, like you say, if they can pull that one off. They're doing a very good job at the moment. They're not losing to Harry Noir. And Old School in 4th at the moment is closing in on Harry Noir, but not massively. He has got a pace advantage, but nothing too crazy. Sean is the one that's really struggling, as Lighty's actually going for a move for the lead here, and he breezes past Isotopic down towards the hairpin. So Lighty had the pace. He's looked after his soft tyres quite nicely, and he's up into the race lead. So do they come in at the end of this lap, or do they stay out for another lap? That's going to be crucial. They're both in, so that's actually very smart from Lighty to make the move before they come into the pit lane, so that he can have the net race lead when they come out. Now it's all about what tyres they go onto. So Lighty, Isotopic, Harry Noir all into the pit lane. I imagine Sean is in as well. He is. So that's all of the soft runners apart from Tekken, who have not pitted. Lighty this time going for the hard compound tyres. Think he might have got held. No, I think he just about got away with not being held by Harry Noir. Isotopic's also gone for the hard, so they're both going for the one stop, as is Harry Noir as well. But Lighty, really smart for him there to get ahead of Isotopic before the pit stops.
Yeah, definitely it is. I mean, he's going to be in front.
Oh my word! That was B Morgan coming around the outside. B Morgan, a massive undercut here on those hard tyres, trying to go all the way around the outside of Lighty, but he doesn't pull it off. And actually, Lighty making that overtake has massively benefited him, because he's now 8th. He's ahead of B Morgan and David. Isotopics lost 3 places in all of that.
Yeah, just in one pit stop. I mean, yeah, and this is just what I predicted in the undercut from B Morgan. It's just what saved him, and yeah, his tires are warm, and Lighty has to warm his tires up now, so...
Yeah, so Lighty got to be under a lot of pressure. This is going to be crucial for the rest of this race. Can he build the gap on B Morgan like he did in the opening phases? Well, now that B Morgan's in a little bit more clean air and he's not really tucked behind Jan anymore, can B Morgan start to battle for the lead? It'll be a great comeback if he can. Lighty at the moment, the net race leader. Jan obviously is the net race leader of all the people that have pitted, but he's gone onto the medium, so he's going to have to pit again in this race. He cannot take those to the end. He is flying at this point in the race, but it's still not enough for him to work. He's got to be up with Old School by the end of his stint, and that is a massive amount of time he's going to have to gain for this to work for him. Lighty then has a comfortable enough advantage over B Morgan. B Morgan doesn't really have a lot of ERS in his attack at the moment, neither does David. As you can see, Isotopic has the most out of all of them, so he's sitting pretty at the moment. 4th in this queue as Harry Noir now gets past Tekken down towards the hairpin, so he's back up into a net P4 in this race, but he's become a little bit detached in all of that as well, as has Steve. Sean came out in 16th behind Captain Chubbs, as Tekken's now into the pit lane, the last of the soft runners to pit. So now we look to the medium runners at the front of the field. Old School leads 3.1 seconds ahead of Simply Superman. Old School's overtakes early on those soft runners actually played out nicely for him, because he's built enough of a gap over Simply Superman, and all of a sudden Kiki's really come from nowhere and he's flying on these medium tyres.
Yeah, he's just sneaking up to Simply Superman the last couple of laps, and yeah, really putting pressure on now. So yeah, let's hope he can keep it together, and those guys can have a great battle, because we know we saw last season that Simply Superman, it's not one you easily pass. He's a great great defensive driver. So yeah, it's not going to be easy for Kiki to overtake Simply Superman.
No, it really isn't. He's going to have to try and get this move done as early as possible. We've got a good run there coming onto the back straight, and he's got a lot of ERS in his reserve, way more than Simply Superman has. So here comes Kiki down the straight, and it looks like Simply Superman this time round is deciding not to defend it. He knows that Kiki is faster. Kiki breezes past down towards the hairpin and is up into 2nd place on the road. Now what is crucial for this race, can Kiki close in on Old School? Old School looking very confident on these tyres, but Kiki's looked fast as well. A little bit stuck behind Simply Superman, who is starting to struggle for pace a bit. So I wonder if those medium tyres are already reaching the peak of their performance as well, and they're starting to drop off. Kiki now seeing if he can close in on his teammate. Meanwhile, David and Isotopic are going side by side at the hairpin, and Isotopic already making up for those drops in places at the pit stop, using his ERS that he had to breeze past David, who had absolutely nothing in defence. Isotopic then up into 10th place on the road, 3rd of all the people running on the hards, and in the background as well, Steve has worked his way past Harry Noir, I think. So Steve somewhere has jumped the Renault man and is now up into a net P5.
Yeah, great stuff from these guys, and yeah, all of them. I mean, Lighty doesn't have any ERS. B Morgan almost doesn't have anything. So yeah, they're really gonna have to save up to defend against Isotopic, or it's just gonna be he's gonna pass them easily, I think, because he's looking really good today.
Yeah, he is really looking strong. And one thing I've noticed as well is that Jan's strategy, we obviously know it's not going to work, but he's actually losing time to Lighty now. He's getting stuck a little bit behind Alex, and Lighty's now closing in on Jan. So those medium tyres already not going very well, and those hard tyres looking strong on the Ferrari, and with his Ferrari teammate in front of him as well, and they're a bit of a queue behind Flores. This could help Lighty build some ERS in his defence, so if he maybe sticks behind Jan for a bit and just holds onto his DRS and doesn't use a lot of his ERS, he can save up a bit, and that will help him in his defence against B Morgan and Isotopic, who are coming at him pretty fast at the moment. But Lighty doing a very good job. Looking further up the field as well, Kiki is closing in on his teammate. He's taken at least a few tenths out of his teammate as Jan's going for the move on Alex down towards the hairpin. very late on the
Old
brakes.
school
Has a
thing.
yeah, a little bit of a lock up. Old school in, yeah. Wow, that's very early. End of lap 10. I was expecting him to go at least a few laps longer than that, but he's already in. Thinks those medium tyres can't get any further. Jan, meanwhile, did make that move stick on Alex, so he's up into 6th place on the road, and you'd imagine that Alex will let his teammate through and maybe trying to hold B Morgan up. Where does Old School come out relative to this pack? He's going to come out, I think, ahead of Steve, actually quite comfortably ahead of Steve, and he's going to be behind David on the road, but he didn't go as long on those medium tyres as I would have expected, and he only really has at least a 2 or 3 lap advantage on the drivers in front.
Yeah, he does. I was really surprised he came in. I thought he had a bad connection or anything, and it glitched in, and it was gonna go out. But yeah, really early stop on the medium tires, and yeah, maybe not as confident on the mediums as he is on the hards.
Maybe, yeah, that has given him a bit of a task to do. Is 3 seconds behind David, and they're all really in a DRS queue now, all stuck behind Jan. Well, Jan's passed Flores, as has Alex, so Flores starts to struggle on his medium tyres, and Lighty will want to try and get the move done on Flores relatively early, so he can maybe put a buffer between himself and B Morgan. B Morgan looking close enough to challenge. He's saving his ERS up as B Morgan, ready for an attack if he gets close enough. Lighty at the moment can't save, so he'll have to wait and see what he does do in terms of what Flores is doing and what Alex is doing in front as well. They're tucked right in behind. Isotopic as well, a little bit detached at the moment in 9th, has DRS but isn't quite close enough to mount any sort of challenge, and David maybe trying to come back at him but not close enough and doesn't have the ERS to do so. Kiki now into the pit lane as well, as Alex and Flores are going side by side into the hairpin. Alex defending the move ahead of Flores, holds on to 5th place. Lighty not close enough to capitalise on it, and Flores is going to stay out for another lap, so that means that Lighty's going to have to get this move done. Both Williams drivers though seemingly struggling on their medium compound tyres. Kiki in at the end of lap 11, which again for me is a couple laps earlier than I would have expected.
Yeah, same as Old School. I really thought they would, lap 15, something like that, and they would fit them. But yeah, it is early. But yeah, I don't know how the mediums feel, and yeah, maybe they're just overheating too fast now when they're 11 laps on. What's going on?
I was just seeing there, Lighty made the move stick around the outside of Flores, and Flores tried to dive him back down the inside of the hairpin, had to back out of it, and now B Morgan's going to get the move done on Flores as well. So that's given Lighty a little bit of a buffer, and now Lighty has his teammate directly in front of him. So you would imagine that Alex will let his teammate through here and maybe try and hold B Morgan up a little bit, but that was very close to Lighty being taken out by Flores, who are both on completely different strategies. But now Flores is really holding Isotopic up, which is helping David out. David's looking down the inside of the Racing Point man, but isn't close enough to make the move stick. Now, what does Ferrari do here? Do they let Lighty through, or does Alex stay in front and help Lighty save ERS? We'll have to wait and see. Lighty doesn't really have any ERS at all at this point in the race, so he's really struggling to save. B Morgan has a bit more than him, but not a lot in his reserve either. Does Lighty go for the move? Alex is sticking to the racing line. Lighty's looking to the inside line. Alex moved a little bit in the braking zone there, so it looked like Alex might have been trying to defend. Lighty runs slightly into the back of his teammate there, and B Morgan nearly caught up in it as well, as Isotopic and David both work their way past Flores now. Simply Superman, meanwhile, on the medium tyres, is staying out for the time being. He's continuing on his tyres. He's feeling pretty confident. But now B Morgan tucked right behind Lighty. Lighty being held up by his teammate here, and that's allowing B Morgan to capitalise. He's going to try and go all the way around the outside of turn 1. Can he pull that move off? Can Lighty defend it? Lighty's got the inside line for turn 2. B Morgan's going to do the switch back down the inside, but there's not a lot of room for that move, and B Morgan gets a little bit of contact with Lighty. They just about get away with it. It was an audacious move from B Morgan, and Lighty firmly shut the door in his face.
Yeah, if he could have pulled this off, B Morgan was an incredible overtake. But yeah, just really impressed. He held on to the car and didn't spin out. But yeah, great action between these guys. But I'm not sure why Alex held up Lighty
that much,
as
yeah.
he did there.
Yeah, but he's now let Alex through down at the hairpin. So he's now let Lighty through, sorry. So Lighty is now up ahead of Alex, but Alex has now got B Morgan directly behind him. So I imagine B Morgan might get this move done fairly easy on the Ferrari. He's looking to the inside, but he's not going to be close enough. We've got a DRS straight coming up, so you would imagine B Morgan can make the move there. But I will say, Alex has got more ERS in reserve than B Morgan, so Alex could defend here, and he should have DRS on his teammate as well. So this is helping Lighty out big time, and this is also helping Isotopic close back in on B Morgan. So we'll have to wait and see how this plays out. B Morgan tucked right in behind. B Morgan has nothing as Captain Chubbs has retired in the pit lane, unfortunately. B Morgan in the DRS of Alex, nothing to overtake with. Alex holds on to the place. B Morgan had nothing in reserve to try and fight with, so this continues to help Lighty.
Yeah, it does, and he really needs it as well, because he's almost out of ERS as well. These guys are just really going hammer and tongs, and giving it everything they have. You can see that on their ERS management, and yeah, just great to watch.
Really, really good stuff. Yeah, B Morgan tried the move at turn 1, but again, no room there. And Alex holds on to the place, so B Morgan starting to get a little bit held up here. I imagine he might get a bit frustrated, but this is great teamwork now from Ferrari. It came maybe about a lap too late, but it's now starting to work for them. B Morgan using his ERS coming down towards the hairpin. Alex is going to defend the inside line. Fair enough. He's got the line. He locks up a little bit, though. B Morgan try and get the switch back on the exit of the corner. He'll be on the outside. This is a risky move, but he's got a lot of momentum coming out of the hairpin. Alex will have the inside line, though, and Alex should maybe be able to hold on to the pace. B Morgan's going to drive clean around the outside. What a move from B Morgan. Drives clean around the outside of the Ferrari man. Gets up into 5th place. It cost him a bit of time to Lighty, but a brilliant move from B Morgan.
Yeah, incredible stuff to watch. This is why why people tune into to YouTube to see these kinds of overtaking, these kinds of races. I mean, Alex as well, just clean side-by-side racing. Great stuff from them.
Brilliant, brilliant stuff. Lighty now has a buffer back to B Morgan, and B Morgan has no ERS left to try and close in, so now it's all about pure pace. Lighty's starting to re-close in on Jan. Meanwhile, leader of the race simply... Isotopic, is he going for the move on Alex? Is he down the inside? He is. He's going to go for the move down towards the hairpin. He's going to get that move done cleanly. And David, David too late on the brakes. Tried to go for the move as well on Alex and runs clean into the back of Isotopic and picks up front wing damage. And now Old School's closed in. In all of that chaos, Old School's managed to close in as well. So he's down the inside. Simply Superman into the pit lane. Alex and David both into the pit lane as well. Alex to change from his hard compound tyres. David to change his front wing. So that opens the door for Old School. Old School's now in a net P4, 1 place off the podium. So, do you know what? This prediction could come true for him.
Yeah, it could. And he's got his teammate right behind him, 3 seconds down the road. But yeah, it's really helping Old School into some great places. I mean, he's in DRS range of Isotopic with 50% ERS. It's all going his way.
It is really all going his way. Meanwhile, Lighty's actually continuing to extend the gap over B Morgan. So Lighty has got some good pace on those hard compound tyres. He's liking the Chinese track. Old School as well was liking this track as well. Currently running in 6th on the road. Kiki running in 7th and net P5. He's had a number of gains in this race from where he started. Simply Superman pitted, came out in P10, but he's got a massive amount of fresh tyres advantage compared to the people around him. Harry Noir can see in front of him, at least 6 laps older in terms of tyre wear. Kiki and Old School obviously in front only about 3 laps because they pitted a few laps previous, but Simply Superman, you've got to watch out for him for the end of the race because he's going to have a massive tyre advantage right at the end of this one.
Yeah, and it can gain you up in the second later on in the race when you've got good tyres and really low fuel rates in your car. So
Sorry to jump in there. Old School's gone for the move already on Isotopic, so he's used up his reserve of VRS and he's made it down the inside of Isotopic. Old School's up into a net P3 as Hero Jokin from the hard compound tyres comes into the pit lane to change onto what should be a set of medium, so look out for him later on in the race as well. But Old School's already up into that podium spot.
Yeah, great stuff. He really looks fast, and I'm curious to see how long it takes him to get in DRS range of B Morgan, because he looks really confident on this track. Old School, really looking good.
He's really looking good, yeah. And I wonder, does B Morgan fight this now? Because B Morgan knows, on pure pace alone, B Morgan at the moment can't really keep up with Lighty, which I'm a little bit shocked to say, if I'm honest. But B Morgan's struggling at the moment to keep up with Lighty. Does he think maybe letting Old School through and letting Old School have a run at Lighty could mean that those two could come back towards him at the end of the race?
Yeah, I think so. I think Lighty and Old School are around the same pace. And yeah, if they start fighting, they're gonna just lose time massively, and B Morgan can really take advantage of that, or maybe when they have an accidental touch or anything. So yeah, if I was B Morgan, I would try to stay in DRS of Old School when he passes, and just see what happens.
Yeah, wait and see if he can do that. He's gained a little bit actually in the middle sector. I think Lighty may have made a mistake through that banked corner coming onto the back straight. He lost a bit of time to both Jan and B Morgan there, so I wonder maybe a little bit of a wobble mid-corner, so he's lost a lot of the time he's gained in the last 2 laps. But Old School, yeah, not quite within DRS range that lap, but has gained time on B Morgan, so it's all starting to fall his way, and it's not out of the question that Old School could win this race. Old School, though, very wide coming out of the penultimate corner, so that's definitely probably a warning for him. Kiki as well, doing well. He's starting to close in on nicer topic in the background. Simply Superman, where on earth has he come from? He's already 8th in this race, and he's tucked right up behind Harry Noir. That was a 2-second gap, bear in mind, before that. It's now already down to 0.2 of a second, and Simply Superman trying to get the move done on Harry Noir already for 7th place. So he's flying on these set of hard compound tyres. Steve, meanwhile, has pitted for a second time in this race. He's obviously got some damage somewhere. He's dropped down to 15th place. Hero joking on the mediums. The lead fresh medium runner now down in 12th, right behind Nolan, who pitted early for a set of hard tyres as well. So Simply Superman tucked up behind Harry Noir, who's not had the race he would have wanted at the moment. The Renault man starting third on the grid has become detached really from the rest of the field. He's not quite got the pace of the drivers in front of him or the tyres at his disposal to really attack. So Simply Superman at the moment looking very dangerous towards the end of this race.
Yeah, he does. He just closed the gap really fast, and yeah, the only thing he has to do now is overtake him fast, because it's faster, but yeah, you can get stuck behind someone, and it's really weird how that works. You just get stuck in the same line as the driver in front of you, and you can't overtake him. So he really has to pass him fast, and yeah, see if he can close the gap to Kiki again.
Let's wait and see then. Harry Noir going all the way to the right-hand side of the track, down towards the hairpin, but Simply Superman's got a great car in a straight line. From 0.6 of a second back at the start of the straight, he's trying to go all the way around the outside of the hairpin. Does he have the grip to pull it off? Harry Noir gives him just enough space. That was fairly fought between the two of them, and actually Simply Superman gave the place up into the final corner, so I wonder whether he's waiting for the DRS down the pit straight as well. And now down the pit straight we go. Is he going to dart towards the inside line? He is. Harry Noir keeps it on the racing line. Jan's into the pit lane for a second time, so he drops out of the race lead, but Simply Superman this time round down the pit straight breezes past Harry Noir, gets now up into 6th place. Good move from Simply Superman.
Yeah, great move, and Stumpy really came back and is on the back of Sean, but yeah, I wonder when he's going to make his second pit stop, because he just, yeah, I would be surprised if he could take these tyres to the end.
Yeah, I'll be really shocked if he can do that. He's going to have to pit again. Yeah, like you say. Jan, then after his second pit stop, down in 12th. What a shame for Jan. He could have been battling for that podium as well. But this alternative strategy for him is just not going to work unless we get a safety car. He's well off the top 5 at the moment, and he's not going to gain that time towards the end, especially with the likes of Hero joking in front of him, who are pretty much now on the same strategy as him and a couple places in front of him on the road. So he's going to have to look out for that one towards the end of the race. Hero joking not making his way through the field as quickly as you would expect on these medium tyres, but we'll have to wait and see as the race gets going later on whether he's still got the pace in those tyres. Back towards the front of the field though, Old School is now within DRS range of B Morgan. Lighty's got a 1.8 second gap. He's still safe in the lead of this race. B Morgan still in second, but Old School now within DRS range of the Renault man, so it's now Old School the man on the move. 3rd place looking for second.
Yeah, and Lighty really has a gap, and he just keeps extending this. If nothing weird happens, I think it's going to be the first Q1 Lighty's going to finish in Division 2.
Yeah, touch wood. I obviously don't want to curse Lighty. It would be great to see. He struggled so much. He struggled so much last season, especially at the start of the season, to really find consistency. He had flashes of pace, but he kept either spinning out of contention or picking up damage at points. But this time round, he's built his confidence so much. He looks so much stronger coming into this season. Should have been on the podium last time out, and at the moment is running in the race lead, looking strong. Coming towards the end of this race, we've got about 10 laps to go, so there's still a lot that could happen. A safety car come out and it could change things massively once again, but Lighty continuing to extend the advantage. It looks like Lighty is very, very strong in the opening sector of this lap. He gains at least a couple of tenths on B Morgan through the first 2 corners every lap, so that seems to be where he's strongest, in those longer corners. Maybe his management of his front left tyre temperature seems to be where he's gaining time.
Yeah, I believe so, because if you're able to win a couple of tenths, you have to keep your tires in check and not spinning. So yeah, he's doing a really great tire management, but in the on the straights he loses out a couple of tenths. So yeah, there is a payoff for tire temperature in check.
Yeah, at the moment it's very evenly matched between those two, and Old School as well, tucked right in behind B Morgan. Looks like it's just going to stick there for a bit and maybe save some ERS so that when he goes for the move, he can get it done pretty easily. We have to wait and see if that is how he's going. Isotopic becoming a little bit detached now. Our front row sitter starting to struggle. He was tucked right in behind B Morgan earlier on. Now can't really keep with the same pace and is being caught by Kiki, who in the other Williams is doing a very good job. Williams having a very strong showing. Kiki, like I said last time out, is as Jan is going for a move, I think, on Nolan in the background. Like you say, yeah, he's going to go side by side into the last corner. Nolan's going to hold on to the place into the corner. Jan's going to try and get the switch back for the exit. Can he get the move done on the exit of the corner? I think he's already passed before he gets really to the line. Actually, Nolan's got great straight line speed. Oh my word, they make contact down the straight as they go into the corner. They're still making contact midway through the corner, but Jan, I think, is just about going to hold on to it. Although is Nolan coming back at him down towards turn 3? He is, but I don't think he's going to have the grip to pull that one off. Jan up into 11th place and started to fly on those medium tyres. He's upper pace and is closing in on Hero Jokin, and Hero Jokin's closing in on both Sean and Stumpy as well, so this is going to all blow up at the moment for 8th place on the road.
Yeah, I can. One mistake could cost you a race now. From Stumpy all the way down to Axel Nolan. And what we haven't talked about yet, and what's really surprising to me, is P17 Tekken.
Yeah, Tekken's really struggled in this race. He's had absolutely no pace, down in 17th on the hard competition. It says it looks like he might have left the session as well, so I'm wondering whether it's been a mix of him not having the pace and then he's left the session as well. David as well. David and Steve, two big names who picked up damage earlier on, 14th and 15th, having run in the top 5 at points in the early stages of this race. So their race has really gone horribly wrong. They were hoping for some sort of safety car in this race, and we said obviously at the start of the last stream that this race might favour those that are a bit more consistent and a bit neater. But I say that this race has been incredibly clean so far. We've only really seen a couple spins.
Yeah, and all battles were really clean, no weird stuff. So yeah, great. Ooh, and someone
Stumpy's
coming in.
Yeah, Stumpy into the pit lane, couldn't take those medium tyres any further, so he's come in. It might be for a set of soft tyres. He should be able to get a set of softs to the end from this point onwards. I'll have to wait and see what he does go on to. Yeah, I think I could see the Red Bulls there. He is coming in for a set of softs, so Stumpy may be going for the fastest lap, but a race of really what could have been for him. It fell apart very early on for him, and he's going to drop down to 16th place. Only really able to gain maybe a couple places from there onwards, so it's really a recovery drive for him, hoping for a late safety car. Now we've got to look back to the battle for the lead here, because B Morgan all of a sudden is now starting to close in on Lighty, and he's actually dropped Old School ever so slightly now.
Yeah, and they're all three. They're back in DRS range now, so yeah, it's all gonna be kicking off in the end of the race, I think. So yeah, just hold your hats and get one drink, because it's gonna be great.
Yeah, it is not over yet. A three-way battle for the lead with people that I didn't really expect to be back. Well, I did expect B Morgan and Old School to be batting for the race lead or the podiums today. But Lighty really has shocked us today. He's had a great pace throughout, and he's here on pure merit, qualified 4th, had a great start, got up into 2nd place, and from there really hasn't looked back. He's had a great race so far. He passed Simply Superman before the pit stops. Isotopic, before the pit stops, and Isotopic just hasn't been able to keep the same pace as Lighty. Lighty's just driven off into the distance, really. Only problem now for Lighty, coming in with about 6 laps to go, is he has no ERS. B Morgan hasn't got anything more than him. It's Old School he's really got to look out for, who has a little bit more in reserve and has the fresher tyres, so he's the one really to look out for coming towards the end of this one as well, as Steve and David in the background go side by side once again, coming out of the hairpin. Steve, I think this time going to get the move done towards the final corner, but I say that David's going to go clean around the outside and off the track to get the move done, so I imagine he'll probably have to give that move up. He has the DRS as well, though. He's down the inside and actually does get the move done, so these two having a crazy battle at the moment for 13th on the road, and David comes out on top this time round. Meanwhile, Hero Jokin's up into 8th place. He's now ahead of Sean, and Jan's going to follow him through as well, so the two medium runners starting to work their way forwards as well. Next target for them, Simply Superman and Harry Noir for P6 and 7.
Yeah, they are, and Kiki is closing up on Isotopic as well, so Isotopic has to defend for his life last couple of laps. So I thought it was just gonna straighten out and gaps were gonna be there, but the end of the race is it looks promising.
It does look promising. B Morgan's now tucked right up behind Lighty. Lighty driving to the right-hand side of the track to try and break the toe. He's going to run on the marbles, and B Morgan not using his ERS. He's just sitting in behind, waiting maybe for a mistake from the Ferrari man, as Kiki is now going to get the move done well before the braking zone for the hairpin. Kiki up into 4th place, only 4 seconds off his teammate as well, so any sort of mistake from old school B Morgan or Lighty, and Kiki is there to pounce on a podium. I think Kiki will be a little bit annoyed at maybe getting 2 4th places in a row. He'll want to get that podium, but it'll be a great start to his campaign, because all 3 of the drivers in front of him finished behind him in the first round, so this puts Kiki right towards the front of the championship, especially with Simply Superman, Hero Jokin and Jan all behind him at this point in the race as well. So Kiki looking strong for a championship challenge, currently running in 4th. And Old School, I'm a little bit shocked here. Old School, I don't know if he's doing this on purpose and just saving some ERS, but he's dropped out of DRS at B Morgan, and now all of a sudden can't really seem to close back in again.
Yeah, I really hope he doesn't do that on purpose, because it's good to save ERS, but don't fall out of DRS range, because the 2 in front of you can just fly away, and then it's bye-bye. You're gonna have to use everything, and mistakes can happen then when you have to push to get back into DRS range.
Yeah, they really can. B Morgan, as you said, that had a bit of a big lock-up there coming into the left-hander, so that's one mistake you've got to look out for, is the lock-ups, especially on the left front tyre with the heat that's going to be put through them. And again, B Morgan, another lock-up there coming towards the start of the final sector. Lighty, at the moment, obviously with less ERS, B Morgan is saving some of his ERS at the moment, maybe for an attack later on, but at the moment, it does look like Lighty's feeling pretty comfortable in the lead of the race. He's got about a 7/10 of a second gap. Obviously, the dirty air in the middle sector is probably helping him, because it really affects your car in the middle part of the lap. But even with B Morgan so close behind him, Lighty seems pretty comfortable at the moment.
Yeah, he does, and yeah, it's a really it's a great thing if you can do that, because when someone is within a second behind me, I get really nervous and do some stupid stuff. So yeah, but he really looks confident, and he's just looking forward, not backward, and doing his own thing. So yeah, great job from him. And Old School is really struggling to he's really losing touch of B Morgan and Lighty now.
We saw this a little bit on the medium tyres. He came into the pit lane very early off the mediums, from about lap 10, so not only about 3 or 4 laps later than Lighty B Morgan on the soft tyres. So I'm wondering whether Old School has a bit of a problem with tyre wear here, because he came in early on the mediums and is already struggling on the hards. We've got 5 laps to go in this race, well, we're on about 4.5. But he's really dropping off the 2 leaders who have older tyres than him, so maybe that's Old School's Achilles heel is his tyre wear.
Yeah, it could be. Maybe he's running a time trial setup or something. They're devastating on your tires. But yeah, on the other hand, it's 12 left.
Sorry to jump in there. Kiki spun the car all on his own. What a shame for Kiki, coming into the final sector. Spins the car, hits the wall. I don't think he's picked up any damage, but Isotopic, Simply Superman and Harry Noir are all going to go through on the Williams man from a comfortable 4th place. He spins on his own, and now he's got both Jan and Hero Jokin on the medium tyres directly behind him on the track. So Kiki at the moment here could drop down to 9th after 1 spin. What a shame.
Oh yeah, he was doing really good.
And he's had contact with Jan. He was really slow there through the banked corner, and it caught Jan out, and Jan's just run clean into the side of the Williams man and has broken his front wing, and that's going to allow Hero Jokin to get him moved on Kiki. I think Kiki's struggling now with the overheating tyres after that spin. Meant he had to back off midway through the corner, and Jan just ran clean into the back of him and spun out. Hero Jokin, once again from the back of the grid, is up into the top 10. 18th on the grid, up into a 7th place. A great comeback for a race with no safety cars, and I tell you what, it's only 4.5 seconds off of Simply Superman and Harry Noir, who are continuing to battle, so a top 5 is still not out of the question. But Kiki coming back at Hero Jokin down towards turn 1, and is going to get the move done down the inside. Hero Jokin trying to come back down the inside for turn 2. Can he get that one stopped? Kiki gives him just enough room, but he's going to have the inside line for 3. Hero Jokin again trying the switchback, but Kiki slams the door in his face, holds on to 7th place. So a good comeback there from Kiki down towards turn 1, but a very crucial mistake there for the Williams man.
Yeah, it is, and Stumpy
has retired.
He's retired in pit lane.
That is...
Yeah, really costly mistake of Kiki. I mean, he was only 3 seconds behind Old School. Old School was struggling. I don't know what. I think he's got his tires in check now because he's back in DRS. But yeah, really devastating for him. It's sad to see.
It is such a shame for Kiki, looking for 2 fourth place finishes in a row. Unfortunately, that's not going to come unless some sort of crazy ending to this race happens. Isotopic now in 4th place, completely on his own, 6.2 seconds off of Old School and 7 seconds clear of Simply Superman. So he's had a bit of a boring race, it seems. Harry Nawag's trying to come back at Simply Superman. He's clung onto the back of the Alfa Romeo man, who has 7 lap fresher tyres than Harry Nawag. So Harry Nawag's doing a very good job of holding onto the back of the Alfa Romeo man at the moment. It does look like the older your tyres get, you don't really lose a lot of pace. But as I say that, Harry Nawag has a big slide coming out of the hairpin, so he's lost a bit of time there. And Kiki's looking to try and close back in on these two, and is dragging Hero joking with him as well. Mention out as well for Nolan, currently running in 9th place, having pitted early after some damage. I think he started on the medium tyres, did Nolan, and he pitted at the end, I think, of about lap 7 because of damage. So it's a good comeback for him to finish in 9th place, and he's ahead of Sean, who's trying to close in but just doesn't seem to have the pace at the moment. So good comeback from Nolan, currently 9th. Sean rounds off the top 10. Alex is in 11th. He's not had the same pace as Hero Joking on the same strategy, so it's not quite worked for him. 2.5 laps to go, and B Morgan looks no closer to Lighty.
No, he doesn't. Old School a little bit closer to B Morgan, but yeah, they just don't look like a threat to Lighty. Yes.
Yes, as you say, obviously there's still 2 laps to go, but also as well, one thing to note is that B Morgan had an ERS advantage of about 20, maybe 30%. It's gone. I don't know where it's gone, because he's not gained any time on Lighty, but the ERS advantage he had is now gone, and he's using a lot of it down the straight. Obviously, Lighty's used a lot of his as well, but the ERS advantage that B Morgan was trying to save coming into this part of the race has completely vanished. So I don't know where that's gone, but he's used up all the reserve he had, and he's no closer.
He isn't, and I just noticed on the straights, he just wins a 10th. With his DRS open on Lighty, so it isn't that much.
No, it really isn't. It just seemed to be, like we saw early on in the race, B Morgan really struggling for straight line speed. So a little bit of a compromise strategy for B Morgan. Did him well in qualifying, but in the race, it seemingly cost him so far. I think if he had a good start, I think we would have seen B Morgan just clear off into the distance with the actual speed he's got. But he just really hasn't got the car to race with. He's not got a lot of straight line speed. Obviously, with 1.5 laps to go in this race, one thing I have noticed though is I haven't seen any warnings or time penalties picked up, so I don't know if that's a graphical glitch on my end. Maybe Lighty has a penalty that we haven't seen and B Morgan knows it, so he's just sitting there waiting for the end of the race. We'll have to wait and see when they cross the line, maybe have a look before the end of the race. But on track at least, if there is no penalties for our lead drivers, Lighty's doing a sterling job of holding on to this race win. And Old School, even with the fresher tyres, I'm a little bit shocked that he can't keep with the top 2 at the moment.
Yeah, same here. He queued until a couple of laps back. He just lost it, and he can't get back to them. So yeah, I don't know if it's concentration issue or a tire issue or yeah, I don't know, but Isotopic is losing time on him, so he isn't slow, but just not fast enough to keep close to B Morgan and Lighty.
No, really isn't. I will say these top 3 drivers have been in a class of their own today. Kiki really the only one that could get close to them, but he made him a crucial error and has dropped to 7th place as Old School runs really wide there through the final corner. Might have picked up a warning or a penalty because of it. We're on to the final lap of the race. It obviously hasn't been as crazy a race as it has been in Bahrain, but for a track with very little grip, and a lot of people don't like this track, it's been a fairly clean race and a very interesting one of that as well. A lot of strategies playing out, and it seems that pretty much all of the strategies have been very equal on pace. Look out as well for that P5 battle. Simply Superman holding on to 5th. Harry Nawag's dropped away, and that's allowing Kiki to close back in, who was closing in at a rapid rate on Harry Nawag coming towards the end of this race. So we'll have to wait and see if he can get within DRS range by the end of the lap. It's only 5/10 out of it, so it's not out of the question. As I say that, actually, it's only 1/10 out of it, but that might have been a little bit of a timing glitch on my end. He's gained a little bit, he's lost a little bit of time coming out the corner, but we'll ride with Lighty and B Morgan as they come through the middle sector. Lighty has been only the biggest lead that Lighty's really had in this race has only been about 2 seconds. It's never been any bigger than that, and most of the time it's been under a second. But Lighty, so far, we've got a few corners left in this race, but so far Lighty has dealt with the pressure brilliantly. We obviously don't know about penalties as of yet, so we'll have to wait and see when they cross the line, whether B Morgan's just been sat there knowing that he's going to win on penalties, but we'll wait and see. Lighty on track at least, though, has coped with the pressure brilliantly. This has been, I mean, we say it every week, but this has been Lighty's best drive in TTML so far. From a man that struggled so much last season to finish a race, to be inside the top 10, to now win a race over the likes of B Morgan, Old School and Isotopic. Probably three of the fastest drivers you would see in this field. Lighty establishing himself as a real threat in this round. Lighty comes across the line to win on track. Does he win on penalties? He crosses the line, but B Morgan does take it on penalties. The penalties we didn't see in that race. Lighty's going to drop out of the race lead, so B Morgan knew that there was a penalty coming for Lighty, so B Morgan wins the race then on penalties. Old School finishes in second place because of that penalty as well, and Lighty's going to pick up third place in the end. Isotopic will come home for Simply Superman 5th. Kiki did get ahead of Harry Nawag, but on penalties, Harry Nawag drops to 7th. Hero Joking from 18th on the grid will finish 8th. Sean 9th and Nolan rounds off the top 10. Alex will be next across the line in 11th, ahead of David in 12th, trying to come back after that contact later on in the race. Steve jumps him on penalties. Flores will be next across the line, and then it's Jan, who's had a torrid race today, and Tekken, his AI car, will be the last across the line. But Lighty, unfortunately, with that penalty we didn't see, misses out on the race win, but well driven from all of the top three, and in the end, my prediction was spot on.
Yeah, incredible. Wish I would have stand by my prediction. Yeah, no, great. These three guys, just as you said, in a class of their own. Yeah, really, really good racing, and if they can keep this up every week, week in, week out, we got something. Yeah, just incredible battles again.
I'm sure Lighty will be disappointed to win on track but not actually take the race victory because of a penalty, but it's still his first podium in TTML as well, and he's firmly confirmed himself as a championship protagonist in this one with that round. That was a great drive from him, and he was ahead of both B Morgan and Old School coming into this round in the championship standings already, so these three all gaining massively in the championship at the end of this one, especially with Hero Jokin and Kiki finishing towards the bottom end of the top 10. But here are your final finishes then. B Morgan's going to win the race on penalties from pole position. It wasn't easy in the end for B Morgan. He really struggled in that race to find really some straight line speed to help him out, but he takes the win anyway. Old School from 10th on the alternate strategy. Wasn't really that alternate in the end. It wasn't too different to B Morgan and Lighty, but he comes home in second place. Lighty in third. Isotopic in fourth. Simply Superman from 13th on the grid to 5th. Good result from him as well. Kiki from 16th on the grid to 6th place. A great drive from him. Harry Nawag, apart from that spin as well. Harry Nawag in 7th place. Hero Jokin from last on the grid to 8th. Not as good as Belrain last time out, but he'll be hoping for a good qualifying, because with a good qualifying, who knows what he could do. Sean 9th and Nolan rounds off the top 10. Then it's Alex in 11th, who played the team game brilliantly earlier on. Steve in 12th. David 13th. Jan in 14th, Flores 15th. He's the last of our finishers. Tekken a lap down and out of the race in terms of it was just an AI car driving around, so he's in 16th. Stumpy and Captain Chubbs are only people DNFing from the race. Two big drivers with a lot of speed behind them, not having good races today, but brilliant drive from all of our top three. And B Morgan in the end, not easy, but does win from pole.
He did. He didn't drive around in P1 whole race, but yeah, in the end started on pole and finished in first. So great job from him. And then yeah, it's kind of a difficult one. But who is your driver of the day today?
That is really going to be difficult for me to choose, because for many different reasons. I think obviously penalties have been Lighty's Achilles heel recently. He's obviously picked up a few more penalties than people around him, but even so, with that penalty, I'm going to have to give my driver of the day to Lighty today, just because based on the context we know of the improvement he has shown and how he controlled the race at the front of the field, Lighty's going to take my driver of the day today. Yeah,
I think I have to agree with you. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's lots of guys who did great. B Morgan pole position and finished first. Old School started 10th on the mediums, the alternate strategy finishing second. So yeah, a lot of guys did great, but yeah, in the end I have to agree. Lighty, his first podium. It's my driver of the day as well.
Yeah, brilliant stuff from Lighty, and maybe he can build on that for the next round of the championship, which will be at Spain. So Spain is our next round on the calendar. Again, a completely different track, so not as many overtaking opportunities there. That one's going to be a lot about qualifying and strategy as well. Strategy very important in Spain. It's a very high deg track, as you all know. So look out for that one next week. That's going to be great to watch. Thank you everyone for sticking with us, obviously through that little lobby glitch we had earlier on. It was a good race in the end, and a completely different finishing order to what we had last time out. So who knows what the championship order is going to be coming into the next round of the season. This championship is going to be incredibly difficult to predict. So we'll wait and see how that one's going to play out. But thank you again, everyone, for tuning into the stream. Thank you, everyone. Thank you to all the drivers as well for driving today. Thank you, Conti, for joining me in the commentary box for the first time this season. It's great to have you back, and it's great. It's going to be great to have you the whole season as well. It's going to be a great season. And from myself and Conti, it is thank you very much, and goodbye.